Greetings from Wymack Bible Chapel. Okay, so my utmost for his highest, Oswald Chambers. Today we're looking at transformed by insight. But we all, with unveiled face, beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image. 2 Corinthians 3:18. By being filled with the Spirit, we are transformed, and by beholding, we become mirrors. The outstanding characteristic of a Christian is this: unveiled frankness before God, so that the life becomes a mirror for other lives. By being filled with the Spirit, we are transformed, and by beholding, we become mirrors. You always know when a man has been beholding the glory of the Lord. You feel in your inner spirit that he is the mirror of the Lord's own character. Beware of anything which would sully the mirror in you. It is nearly always a good thing, the good that is not the best. The golden rule for your life and mine is this concentrated keeping of the life open towards God. Let everything else, work, clothes, food, everything on earth, go by the board, saving that one thing. The rush of other things always tends to obscure this concentration on God. We have to maintain ourselves in the place of beholding, keeping the life absolutely spiritual all through. Let other things come and go as they may. Let other people criticize as they will, but never allow anything to obscure the life that is hid with Christ in God. Never be hurried out of the relationship of abiding in Him. It is the one thing that is apt to fluctuate, but it ought not to. The severest discipline of a Christian's life is to learn how to keep beholding as in a mirror the glory of the Lord. So there's a lot in there. So are we a mirror of the Lord? Does the Lord's life in us reflect to others? So when you're a Christian, you might think, oh, I've got to work on myself to become a better Christian. And then people will see that I'm a great Christian. But no, that is the wrong approach. What we should do is allow more of Christ in us so we can be a mirror of Christ, so we can reflect Christ to the world. We need to polish our mirror. So the mirror that is us is obscured and sullied by sin and distractions and our own nature and other things that stop Christ shining, reflecting through us. So the more that we polish our mirror, the more that we remove those things that obscure the reflection of Christ to others, then the better we can show Christ to the world. So we need to look at all the things in our lives, our entertainments, our activities, the way we spend our time, the way we focus our mind, and say, does that help me to reflect Christ to the world? Does that improve the brightness and the shining of the mirror that I am? Or does that sully it a bit more? Does that obscure it a bit more? So we need to think on how we can serve God better by being a better reflection of God to the world. So are there hindrances in your life that might stop you serving God fully, or might stop you learning more of God? So hindrances are any distractions that will come in, whether they be legitimate things that you're allowed to do or sinful things you're not allowed to do, but they both will have the same effect, that they will impact you in a way that is negative for reflecting God to the world, because that's our purpose. I mean, when we're saved, why does God leave us here? To reflect Him to the world, to share, so we can share our lives with others so they can come into the kingdom. We are to be salt and light to the world. We're not to hide our light under a bushel. but we are to proclaim Christ. So if we go to 2 Corinthians 3, if we start in verse 16, we looked at verse 18. Nevertheless, when someone turns to the Lord, so when you first come to the Lord, the veil shall be taken away. So then you see clearly God and Christ and the truth. Now the Lord is that Spirit. And where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. So we have liberty. But we all with open faces, looking as in a mirror at the glory of the Lord, are being changed into the same image from glory to glory, even as by the Spirit of the Lord. So even though there's liberty, there is not liberty to things that would stop us from reflecting that glory. And it's the Spirit of the Lord that changes us. It is not us. So we don't need to work at it. We just need to allow more of Christ in us to share with the world. Amen.